Hello, and welcome to the 6th episode of Mixed Media Reviews Season 4. My name is Kelsey, and today I'm going to be talking about a movie. This week's movie is Happiness for Beginners. I saw this movie pop up when I was on a holiday break from work earlier this year. It was on, just the regular home screen of Netflix, and I saw that Ellie Kemper was in it, so I knew that I had to watch it. And one night, I had some hot cocoa, I snuggled up on the couch, and I turned the little rom-com on. This isn't going to be too spoiler-heavy of an episode. I'm not going to get into anything too specific, but I will mention one thing later on that I think is probably pretty obvious because it is a rom-com, but just in case you've now been warned. This is what Google has to say the summary is. A year after her divorce, 32-year-old Helen Carpenter lets her brother persuade her to sign up for a wilderness survival course. Through this experience, she discovers that you have to get lost to find yourself. Short and to the point. So let's dive in. I thought this movie was super cute. Of course, Ellie Kemper was fantastic, but it's also a lot of little things that I ended up really loving in the movie, like the little details. I loved the grandma's backyard. When we first see her introduced in the movie, it is just so cozy and cute, and I'm really jealous of it. My backyard is like 10 feet deep, maybe. I wish I could have a cute little area that you could go lounge out and look at the stars. Super jealous. At one point, she's doodling, and the doodle isn't like some perfect work of art. It's just like a doodle that anyone would doodle. And it's perfect in its imperfection. And I really liked that, it wasn't giving the appearance of, a prop that somebody was like, hey, have like an artist draw a doodle for us. It just looked like literally Ellie Kemper. Well, I don't know. Maybe she's actually a very talented artist, but it just looked like anybody could have been doodling it. And it was nice to see that, they could have somebody just have a regular old, ability to doodle. Let's see, what else? So like I mentioned in the summary, Helen does this wilderness survival course, which all culminates in this really big hike that she's on. And all the women don't wear makeup. And it's fantastic. Maybe they're wearing something because of, there's maybe all people wear some kind of makeup in, on TV and whatever. But it genuinely looks like they're not wearing makeup, not like a natural look, but like they're literally not wearing makeup, and it is fantastic. It's super rare, I think, in movies to have women just not wear makeup even when they are freshly waking up from their bed. And it's nice when, you have a bunch of characters who are out in the wilderness hiking, and just to have them have their regular old face, and it's very refreshing. So this one I think is the one that's a little bit of a spoiler, though it's a rom-com, so again, it's not really a spoiler, but I really liked that the backgrounds were always really active. There were always people moving around doing things, which makes it feel less like a set, but then the more that you notice it, you begin to realize it's always Jake in the background doing stuff. Jake is the best friend of Ellie Kemper's character's brother, and it is the main kind of, love interest, I guess you'd say. So you realize it's always him that's in the background doing stuff with other people, and then they kiss, and suddenly there's no one else in the background anymore because Jake has become a foreground character with her, and I really liked that, and I thought it was really good, foreshadowing that, he's kind of on her mind, but also, that he's playing a big part, even when he's just in the background. And then when they kiss, he switches to a foreground character, and suddenly the backgrounds aren't as busy anymore because it's really a focus on both of them. And I really, really liked that, and I thought it was really good visual storytelling. I also really liked that we saw that Jake cared for her prior to the survival training course. You could tell that he really liked her the first time that we see them interact, and it was really cute to see that the care he felt for her continued throughout the movie, throughout the hike, and continued to grow. And in fact, her, I guess this is also more of a spoiler, but the way she felt about him also would then continue to grow. I also and this is the last thing I'll say, but I also really thought everybody was a weirdo in this, and I really liked it. But everybody was so kind of strange and weird, like in a good way, not in a creepy way, but in a nice, everybody's not, normal kind of a way. Like Beckett was absolutely hilarious, and all of the other characters I thought were just really funny. So yeah, I really liked all the characters. I thought they were really good. I liked all of the acting. I thought it was good. I liked the writing of everything and how it builds up, and the climax and all of those things that happen. I thought it was really well done, and a really good rom-com. And like, I don't like, not just a really good rom-com, but a really good movie. Keeping that in mind, there were a few things that did kind of bother me about the movie. The first is probably a fairly common thing to say, but why is it that people always forget how to hold mugs and cups in movies and TV shows? It's like no one's ever held a cup before, and they don't know how to pretend that it's full. There's just so much like unnecessarily wiggling involved. Like they're always moving it in a way where you're like, that would spill everywhere. Or if it's hot, you're being super careless with it, and then of course it sounds empty. And I know, like, if it's a prop, they don't really want to have to keep filling or whatever, but like there should be at least a little bit of water in there to make it so that it doesn't sound empty. I don't know. I feel like it's 2024. Why haven't they figured out how to hold cups and make it look like they're actually full of something? Super minor thing, but still. Another thing that I thought was kind of odd was that she literally gives her brother a laminated list of everything that he needs to do when she's leaving, and he's gonna like take care of the house for her. But then somehow she forgets her own shoes, like she forgets to pack them. And how does she not like have a list that she's double checked for herself when she literally laminated one for her brother? And I get, she laminated because she just doesn't trust that he will be able to keep it safe and that he'll lose it or tear it or spill something on it or whatever. But you think someone who's thinking that far ahead would have a list of their own. And shoes are a pretty big item to have not like checked off. It's not something, random that maybe you were using, like a charger or toothbrush that you had to use prior to packing and forgot to put it in your bag before you left. I know I am a very avid list maker. I make lists for everything, including packing. And I have certainly forgotten something before, but a lot of the time it's like my charger because it was charging my phone and I just forgot to put it in my bag before I went, or something kind of small that you don't really think about beforehand, or something like that. But it's not something that is like part of the gear. Something super important like shoes. Like maybe for a specific outfit, but the shoes you're going to wear the entire time, you'd think you'd be like, okay, I have the pair of shoes I'm wearing now, or maybe some sandals and then the hiking shoes. So just odd that she would leave them, but it's okay. And then the last thing I'll mention is that Ellie Kemper is 43 years old, but she's supposed to be 32 in this. And don't get me wrong, Ellie Kemper looks, really amazing, but she doesn't look younger than I am, for sure. I don't really get why she couldn't just be her age in this. Like, if the book called for her to be 32 or whatever, just make her 43 or 40 or even late 30s. But to age her down so much and to, I don't know, it just feels like it's okay to be in your 40s and be in this position. It's just, and in fact, I feel like it'd make more sense if she's even older, if she's in her 40s doing this survival thing and not her early 30s, when it's like, okay, that's maybe not so crazy of a thing to go on this big hike that you've never done when you're in your early 30s versus early 40s, when maybe you may not have the same, I don't know, abilities to bounce back, in your 40s than you do in your 30s. And also, it would probably feel like a major restart in your life at that point to get divorced in your early 40s versus your early 30s. you could still feel like it's a major step back and you're like having to really rethink things in your early 30s, but your early 40s, I think, is like an even bigger deal. And then Luke Grimes, who plays Jake, is also 40 years old, but he's supposed to be her younger brother's age, which also seems like, okay, that's really, that just seems crazy, because I think her younger brother is supposed to be like 5 years younger than her, so now a 40-year-old is playing a late 20s-year-old, which seems crazy. But again, he could have been in his, mid-30s, and then that could have worked, versus a 20-something-year-old as a 40-year-old man. And also, this is totally random, but I'm currently recording, but I'm reading what I was writing. And when I was writing all this stuff down, I was rewatching True Blood, because after I binged Gilmore Girls, I figured let's do the complete opposite and binge True Blood, which is funny because actually Zach is in it. But now I'm really tangenting from an already tangent. But yeah, so I was rewatching True Blood, and the person who popped up in the scene that I was watching while typing out all the stuff about Luke Grimes is Luke Grimes. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I don't understand why people can't just play their age, and I get a little bit why you cast someone slightly older to play teenagers, because then you don't have to worry about, people who are underage, and, being able to have them work longer hours or whatever. But I don't get why you cast somebody who's in their early 40s to play somebody in their early 30s when you could just age up all of the roles, and I don't think it would really be much of a difference, versus the other way around, where it seems like it was a little hard to believe that, she was actually supposed to be 32 in this. Again, no offense, she looks fantastic, but she looks like she's at least in her late 30s. And I don't, again, think that she looks younger than me. And not that I'm trying to say that I look super young. I just mean, I don't buy it. Anyway, yeah, I definitely recommend Happiness for Beginners, especially if you like rom-coms. I think it was really well done as a rom-com and as a movie, and it's super cute. And there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Happiness for Beginners on Netflix. Thank you so much for joining me. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at Mixed Media Reviews Podcast. Please leave me a comment to let me know if you agreed or disagreed, or if you have any suggestions. You can also find me anywhere you find your podcasts, probably, though using Spotify would be very helpful. Please join me next week, where I'll be reviewing a book, This Vicious Grace by Emily Thiede. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye!